Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. This should be a short video because frankly we have talked about this a lot, so it's not really a need to discuss this too much. But there is a development that has been going on now with the ongoing, Netflix and WB merger. Of course, Paramount's been trying to get into the picture many times. Constantly been throwing WB deals here and left and right, and WB has just flat out rejected all of those deals. I don't know what just happened to my screen. Sorry. um, WB has flat out rejected all those deals, right? And well, it seems as though that the latest attempt from Paramount has actually now caught the attention of WB. Because according to articles, WB, as of this morning, or at least being confirmed this morning, has agreed to engage with Paramount in sales talks, but they are still backing a Netflix deal, as there is now a shareholder vote for now March 20th. So a month from now, they're going to be voting on ultimately where it is this deal is going to go. But let's read some details here to see what is going on. WB Discovery has a number of questions for David Ellison, but the crucial one is this. Will his Paramount Skydance hoist its bid for WBD to over $31 per share? The M&A jousting over WB is entering its final rounds. On Tuesday, WB said its board, after rebuffing multiple overtures from Paramount Skydance, will engage in discussions with the Ellison-led company to, quote, seek clarity on Paramount's, quote, best and final offer in its hostile takeover attempt. WB also announced March 20th, 2026 as the date for the special meeting of shareholders to vote on the proposed $83 billion deal with Netflix, which would acquire WB Studios and HBO Max. So this is key here. So remember, by this point, WB has basically said, okay, we would like to move forward with Netflix, but that does not mean that it is set in stone. So this will be a deciding factor in this. So when the shareholders vote on this, then that's when you know this is going to be moving forward. But for now, it's still kind of floaty. So that's why Paramount is still betting or trying to intercept, because the shareholders have yet to, put the seal of approval saying, hey, we want this, So continuing on though, and even as it opens the doors to negotiations with Paramount, WB's board of directors, quote, continues to unanimously recommend in favor of the Netflix merger. And the board also unanimously recommends the shareholders reject Paramount's most recent offer. Netflix has granted WB a limited waiver under the terms of their merger agreement to permit WB to engage in discussions with Paramount for a 7-day period ending on the 23rd. So at least Netflix, I mean, that should also be part of the swaying factor in this, because I think it's, we'll read a little bit more, but I think it's kind of clear where things are probably going to be going for this in terms of Paramount now entering the discussions again. But moving forward a little bit, during that negotiation window, WB will engage with Paramount to discuss the deficiencies that remain unresolved and clarify certain terms of PSK's Paramount's proposed merger agreement. On February 10th, Paramount upgraded its hostile $30 share offer for all of WB to include a promise pay, WB 25 cents per share, roughly $650 million in cash each quarter. For every quarter in the event Paramount's proposed acquisition of WB is not closed beyond December 31st. Among other new pledges, Paramount also said it will pay the $2.8 billion termination fee due to Netflix if WBD shareholders accept Paramount's offer. So yeah, and it will go on and on, and They will be addressing the $31 per share price, or at least at the $31 per share price, along with several other matters that Paramount said it would address in its February 10th letter, quote, are not reflected in the latest merger agreement that Paramount proposed, according to WBD. To provide specific clarity in this regard, WBD on Tuesday sent the Paramount Skydance board a letter spelling out key issues yet to be addressed, along with drafts of full transaction agreements for Paramount to confirm the terms of its offer. So basically, where we are at right now with this whole thing is that Paramount is willing to discuss terms with them for this week. Netflix appears to be okay with it, and which, I mean, ultimately, I don't know if it's really their prerogative. It's really WB's prerogative. Um, but I think again, I think it's pretty clear that what is right now is going to remain. I don't think Paramount is going to just all of a sudden pull a 180, this week. I don't think that I don't think WB is going to pull a whole 180 this week. I think that they're going to, because of things now entering final stages, with now the shareholders getting involved and, going to be voting here in the next month or so. And also Paramount, constantly having to, put up more and more. Eventually, you're going to catch the attention of a company at some point. But as I was kind of alluding to, I think Netflix is still the better people in the situation because look how lenient Netflix is being compared to Paramount, and also their negotiations appear to have been a lot more transparent. Whereas Paramount's case, if you've been reading up on Paramount's negotiations with WB, they haven't been fully clear on certain terms. There's a lot of things that are left kind of ambiguous. Even if to the point where you're kind of doubting if the CEOs are even fully contributing to the terms that are being set. So all of that has to be taken into account here. And I think that WB themselves is, understanding of that. And, it falls to the feet of the shareholders at this point. We'll see what they think. I think, though, at this point, it's probably still in Netflix's ballpark, if you ask me. But this seems like this is also the last straw. I don't think that Paramount will be making a further attempt past this date here. Past obviously, this date, they might make some attempts here and there, but basically they got this week to discuss terms with Paramount or discuss terms with WB, and then other than that, if nothing seems to come to fruition there, it seems like Paramount might have to just finally wave the flag and say, hey, we're done. Even though I think this was pretty much done a long time ago. But I think that they're ultimately opening it up to them now because they've now reached a certain threshold that is now a little more appealing to WB. But I think ultimately it is still with Netflix because of just the transparency, because of ultimately the just flat out just the good business that's been made. There's been no attacks on any from Netflix. I think Netflix might have said something today, about Paramount. Um, I'd have to look into that, but ultimately this is Netflix's game, and I think that Netflix is in the bag, and Paramount ultimately I think is they've been scrambling, they've been trying so hard to just find something to get WB's attention. Now they do, but I doubt that it's going to amount to anything much, if you ask me. Now, if they're very transparent about their deal, if they come out this week and they just are like, hey, here's all the details that we, for some reason, couldn't give to you. Here's now all the details that you guys need in order to make an assessment about our deal. Maybe then, but clearly, there's still a lot of things missing. So, that's what WB is asking for, and Paramount for all this time has not yet given that transparency. So I think this is still Netflix's game, and I think that ultimately by March, it's going to be set in stone for Netflix. But You guys, what are your thoughts on this development? Do you guys think that Paramount may persuade WB to change their deal? I mean, remember, like I said, or as I said a few videos ago about this, Netflix at the end of the day is still going to give WB some kind of money because Netflix agreed that even if you were to go with somebody else, if you were to back out of this deal, we still will give you like a certain amount of money based off of that agreement alone. So if WB wants to, they can go Paramount and they can get a payday from Netflix based off of their negotiations there. So they can go that route. But I think that by just general business practice, I think that Netflix is doing the better job here and probably are ultimately the better people. But yeah, so you guys, let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think? We'll see. We'll see by the end of this week, where things are at. But I think this is ultimately Netflix's win. But let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.